Tonight, sometime after midnight, a baby will wake up. Not just one baby, but millions of them across the world. Eyes closed, room dark, parents exhausted. And then it begins, crying. It sounds urgent, emotional, sometimes overwhelming. For many parents, it feels like something is wrong. Why won't they sleep through the night? Why do babies cry at night? Why does newborn sleep feel so broken? Here is the part most people never hear. For nearly 300,000 years of human history, this exact behavior was not a problem. It was survival. What feels like disruption today was once protection. What feels exhausting now was once essential. And what if your baby is not malfunctioning at all? What if your baby is doing exactly what human babies were designed to do? What if the real question is not how to stop night crying, but why it exists in the first place? To understand this, we have to go back. Long before modern homes, before electricity, before cribs and baby monitors, humans lived in a world ruled by darkness. When the sun went down, the world did not become quiet or safe. It became unpredictable, dangerous, alive in a completely different way. Predators moved through the night with ease. Lions, wolves, hyenas, and other hunters had vision adapted for darkness. Humans did not. Our eyes struggle in low light. Our bodies are slow and vulnerable after sunset. In that world, night was the most dangerous time to be alive, and the most dangerous time to be small. Now, imagine a newborn in that environment. Completely dependent, unable to move, unable to defend itself, unable to regulate its own body. If that baby remained silent and still for long stretches of the night, it would be incredibly vulnerable. Silence might seem peaceful to us today, but in the ancient world, silence could mean abandonment. What if babies cry at night not to disturb their parents, but to make sure they are never left alone? Anthropologists studying early human behavior have found that babies were almost never separated from their caregivers. There were no nurseries, no separate rooms, no expectation that infants should sleep independently. Babies stayed close, often in direct physical contact with their mothers. They slept beside them, against them, sometimes even attached through shared warmth and constant touch. And importantly, they did not sleep for long, uninterrupted stretches. Instead, they woke frequently throughout the night, every few hours, sometimes even more often. And when they woke, they cried. Not always loudly, not always for long, but consistently. It was a signal, a way of checking connection, a way of ensuring that they were not alone in a world where being alone could be fatal. Your baby's night crying is not random. It is communication. Modern science gives us another piece of the puzzle. Newborns have very small stomachs. They process milk quickly, which means they need to feed often. This alone explains part of why babies wake up at night. Hunger is real and frequent in early infancy, but feeding is not the only reason babies wake. Even after being fed, changed, and comforted, many babies still wake and cry again. This suggests something deeper than just physical needs, something rooted in biology and development. Human babies are born in a uniquely unfinished state. Compared to other mammals, human infants are neurologically immature at birth. Their brains are still developing rapidly, and many systems that regulate the body are not fully stable yet. They depend on caregivers not just for food, but for regulation. Things like temperature, breathing rhythm, heart rate, and stress levels are all influenced by proximity to a caregiver. When a baby is close to a parent, their body becomes more stable. When they are alone, those systems can become less predictable. So the baby wakes up, and the baby cries. What if your baby does not just want you at night, but actually needs you in order to stay regulated? There is also a lesser-known factor connected to infant sleep. Studies on sleep patterns have shown that babies spend more time in lighter stages of sleep compared to adults. This lighter sleep makes them more easily awakened. While this may seem inconvenient, it serves an important purpose. Frequent waking can be protective. It helps prevent babies from falling into overly deep sleep states that they may not yet be able to safely manage. In fact, some research suggests that regular arousals during sleep are linked to reduced risks in certain infant sleep complications. In other words, what we label as disrupted sleep might actually be a built-in safety feature. What if the very thing you are trying to fix is actually helping your baby stay safe? Now, consider how different the modern environment is. Today, many babies sleep in separate rooms. They are physically distant from their caregivers for long stretches of the night. Technology allows parents to monitor them, but technology cannot replace physical presence. A monitor cannot regulate breathing. It cannot provide warmth. It cannot stabilize heart rhythms or reduce stress hormones. It can only observe. So, when a baby wakes up in that environment, the response is often stronger. The crying becomes louder, longer, more intense. Not because the baby is more difficult, but because the distance is greater. From the baby's perspective, nothing about human evolution has changed. The brain does not recognize walls, cribs, or baby monitors as safety. It only recognizes proximity. Close means safe, far means uncertain. Your baby is not waking up in a modern house. Your baby is waking up in an ancient survival system that still exists inside their body. This perspective also changes how we think about independence. In modern parenting culture, there is often pressure for babies to become independent sleepers as quickly as possible. Sleeping through the night is seen as a milestone, something to achieve early. But independence in humans has always developed gradually. It emerges from consistent support, not from early separation. Babies who feel secure and are consistently responded to tend to develop confidence over time. Night waking decreases naturally as the brain matures. Sleep cycles lengthen, feeding intervals expand, emotional regulation improves. This is not something that needs to be forced. It is something that unfolds. What if responding to your baby at night is not creating dependence, but actually building long-term security? There is also a psychological layer to consider. When babies cry and are responded to, they begin forming expectations about the world. They learn that their signals matter, that someone will come, that they are not alone. These early experiences shape attachment patterns, which influence how humans relate to others later in life. The nighttime environment, quiet and vulnerable, becomes one of the earliest spaces where trust is built. Even though the moments feel small, repetitive, and exhausting, they are part of a much larger developmental process. Each night waking is not just an interruption, it is an interaction. Each response is not just soothing, it is information. And over time, that information builds a foundation. Now, return to the present moment. It is late, the room is dark, your baby begins to cry again. You are tired, maybe frustrated, maybe confused, maybe questioning whether something is wrong. But if you step back and look at the bigger picture, this moment is not random. It is part of a pattern that has existed for thousands of generations. Imagine a small group of early humans gathered around a fire. The night is dark beyond the circle of light. Everyone is close together. A baby stirs, wakes, and cries. Immediately, someone responds. The baby is held, comforted, fed. That scene repeated itself night after night for most of human history, and tonight it is repeating again. Not because something has gone wrong, but because something very old is still working. Your baby's cry is not a failure. It is a signal shaped by evolution. Your exhaustion is real, but it exists alongside something meaningful. This system, imperfect and demanding, is also deeply human. So, the next time your baby wakes up crying in the middle of the night, consider a different perspective. Instead of asking how to stop it, ask what it represents. It represents connection. It represents survival. It represents a biological system that has carried humans through hundreds of thousands of years. And now it is asking for you not to fix it, not to silence it, but to respond. Because for most of human history, the babies who cried were the ones who were heard. And the babies who were heard were the ones who survived. And in that quiet, dark moment, you are not just parenting, you are participating in something ancient.